All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Annie Eaglin. I am the co-founder, one of the co-founders, and head of product at Uncovered.
Cool. Well, how has your degree from Luddy helped you with your career?
I mean, yeah, it is responsible for my career. I really don't really know what else to say other than that. I got my master's from Luddy I graduated in 2011. And I went and got my master's because I wanted to work in tech. I had graduated from liberal arts in kind of right in the recession. So things were challenging at that time. But I got a sense of tech from a job that I took, and that's where I wanted to be. Those were the roles I wanted to have access to. And I found out about the HCI program, and I had a conversation with Eric Stolterman, and I was just like, look, I don't have a strong tech background. I have never worked in tech, but I'm really interested in this program. Sounds incredible. And he was like, you sound great. So I applied and I got admitted. And so after leaving Luddy, I did start my career as a UX designer, which is how I got started in product. And then I transitioned into product management, which I think a lot of actually HCI grads are really well suited for. I think the program teaches you a lot of problem solving, and that's pretty much 99% of what we do in tech, right? We just solve big problems, and
Mhm.
we approach things a new way. We, apply patterns from past work. And that's what the program is all about. It doesn't tell you these are the right answers and these are the right tools, but it's more of like, here's a process and here's a way to learn and here's a way to apply these things. And I do that every day. And I think it's also helped me to evolve in my career. Um, I always tell people that like sometimes they feel like my career is like less of a like evolution, and sometimes I just feel like I'm like a Pokemon that like takes a different form. I don't really actually really understand Pokemon that well, but I know that they like become new things, and I do feel
Uh-huh.
like I have done that in my career. And I think that's what's possible in being in tech, and I think that's also what's possible with my degree from HCI.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it's very like tech is a very, like you said, it kind of evolves through
Yeah.
time and changes. So did you see a lot of like, did you have any experience in the classroom that kind of simulated your job now or your
Yeah,
experiences now?
definitely. I think my degree was much more UX focused, but
Hmm.
I mean, I kind of still solve these same problems today, where we have big ideas and we have big features and we have big things we want to accomplish, and we follow the design process, and we start from the beginning, and we like to talk to users. And so I mean, yeah, I mean, so many of the frameworks and processes that I learned again in at Luddy, I still use all the time, because I think what was really great about the program again was like it was really they were having you constantly solving real world problems, constantly doing projects, working with other people. I mean, it's so much group work. I mean, it's constant group work, which take that as you will. So that, and the whole program was all group work, which is really challenging. But
Hmm.
that's exactly how you get things done in the world, is you have to work with a team of people, and you have to collaborate, and you have to get things out the door. And nobody's perfect and you're not perfect, but at the end of the day, things have to ship.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think the curriculum was really real world focused. There's some theory though, some more like academic side to it. I think what's important too is they help you kind of build that like foundational background. They help you build your own philosophy again of how you do work and how you think about process, and that's really important. But yeah, I mean, it was, there's a lot to learn on the job
Hmm.
for sure, as with everyone.
Right.
But again, I think they give you those foundational tools to say, again, this is a way to go about it. Not here's exactly the process, here's exactly how you do it, but here's how you ask good questions. Here's how you take a growth mindset. Here's how you learn. And I think that's super important as you kind of get
Hmm.
out in the world.
Yeah. Um, I guess my next question would be, what is there one thing that you wish you knew back in college now that you're involved in your career that would have helped you jumpstart your career?
That's a really good question. Well, really tactical, a really tactical thing. I didn't know what a product manager was. I didn't
Oh,
know
really?
that that was a role that existed. I didn't
Uh-huh.
know, because I think, at least in the HCI program, at least back in my day, it was very like, are you a designer or are you a researcher? And
Oh.
are you pick a side, right? And I always really liked doing both, and I feel like a product manager is like the great is kind of a great blending of those roles, right? Because you engage with the research side, you're very close to customers, and you're working to solve the problems like along with UX, but then you don't actually have to do the UX design part, which is actually kind of nice for me. But I think I wish I would have known that role existed. And I do,
Uh-huh.
again, I think people coming from HCI are very, very well suited for a product manager role. It's a role that there is no real job for, or sorry, there's no curriculum for. Like nobody comes out of school. I majored in product management. Now I'm a product manager. Like those schools really still don't really exist. There's boot camps and things.
Uh-huh.
So everybody finds their way to product management from some other discipline, which I think is really interesting about the role itself. And I think people from UX and people from HCI are very, very well suited for it. So I wish I would have known that. Um, and then I think at a really high level, like knowing how much I would learn on the job, I
Mm.
mean, the tools I needed, and even the tools I was learning back then are those tools, don't exist anymore, right? Like Fireworks was what we were using. I don't even know if you know what that is. Um, but, really just like how much, again, it's the process, it's the philosophy that's important, and you'll get the hard skills, you'll figure it out as you get out there. Again, I think they tell you that, but it's really hard. It's hard to be
No,
like, oh
it's
yeah, I'll just learn from day one. So
yeah, it's definitely like I know for me being I kind of consider myself a little bit of a perfectionist. So
yeah,
then I'm like when I'm thinking I'm like, oh, when I get to the job, I need to like know everything. I need
yep.
to yeah, it's a hard lesson to
I
learn.
agree with you on that. I'm a kind of person, especially for people like I was very like a school person. Like
Hmm.
they say we need to be able to do this and you need to know this, and I will know and do those things. And it just,
Right.
the real world is not like that, especially in tech where things
Hmm.
move so quickly. And the more open to new ideas and new ways of doing things, like the better. So yeah, it's a process.
Yep. um and then I guess when you're networking with students, what's the thing that like most stands out to you?
You mean as far as like stands out as in this is a good quality or
Let's go with the good quality.
sure. Um, well, I think yeah, that's a good question. I think that people who want to talk to you and meet with you, like I'm always so interested when people reach out and want to just learn.
Hmm.
That was something I really struggled with as a student myself, because I'm like, I don't want to talk to me, student. Um, but I love when students reach out to me, because again, I do think it's like I'm happy to like share information and advice that other people shared with me. Like so many people took the
Hmm.
time to speak with me and talk with me and help me when I asked for it, or even when I didn't ask for it.
Hmm.
That kind of unasked for feedback, but someone sees something, or they come across you, and I think, like, so if you're willing to like take the step and reach out to someone, I think that's incredible. I love when people do that. And I'm always happy to get those, like, hey, I went to again, the cool thing about Luddy, and also the HCI program, is you
Hmm.
have this immediate connection. I mean, it's not a superficial connection to say like, hey, I'm from the School of Informatics. You're like, oh yeah, awesome, cool, like, what do you need? How can I help? Like, your alumni network is so important. Your network in general is really important, but I think really trying to tap into that alumni network as you go. I mean, we are lucky to be one of the IU Ventures companies, and getting access to the IU Ventures. I mean, it was a lot of that was through our alumni connections, and that's been and the alumni connections after that have been really, really huge for us. So I think
Hmm.
like leverage the people in your network and connect with people, and ask good questions too. I mean, that's something I think everybody kind of looks for, but like, people who are genuinely interested in what you're doing. Yeah. And just, I think being like curious and ready to learn, like that's a
Hmm.
general skill I look for people that I want to work with in general, is people who are curious. I think it's really hard to teach someone to be curious, who wants to learn and who wants to grow. But I think that like that's such an important skill, especially in the work that we do, because again, we're always trying to find new ways and better ways and different ways to do things. And someone who is like really stuck in the way they are and is not interested in growing or learning, that can be challenging. So.
No, I love that, because I feel like going into college, kind of like what you said, networking, you just never really understood it because you never really had to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole new experience.
You never know what kind of like connection somebody has, or you talk with someone and then the next week they encounter a role that like you guys were talking about, and then you pop up in someone's brain. You just want to create those moments of like opportunity. Almost every role I've ever had, I've gotten usually from some kind of a connection that I've made. A lot of them have been like alumni connections or IU connections. And that's been great. It's been so helpful because you have an immediate connection with the person. So I think you just like take those coffees and have those virtual Zooms and, psych yourself up because it can be hard. But yeah, I think you never know what kind of great connection you're going to make.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll end it on that. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, happy to.